Brenda, 47 years old. We're going now to an individual circumstance. $116,000 income on an annual basis. She's got $22,000 in a pension. Her taxes are $33,000 a year, and her expenses are $36,000 a year. She looks like she's in pretty good shape.
Maybe, and that's the basis of what we do. Planning takes a look at what the current financial picture is for an individual, and then combines that with the goals and objectives and creates a systematic plan to accomplish that.
Well, I've got some three alternatives for you. Should Brenda, 1, sell and move to Panama, 2, buy a boat, new car, and a super cool media room, or C, go see a financial planner?
C would definitely be a good starting point.
Okay. Tell us what Brenda is going to be looking for when she comes and talks to you or an expert financial planner.
Okay. So if Brenda were to come meet with us, the first 1 or 2 meetings would be to assess the current situation financially. And it would be a process to understand where she is. And then to align that with the goals that Brenda has, whether it be retirement or other. And then to systematically create a plan to accomplish those goals, professional advice and guidance. And the value we add is the ongoing process of the guidance as well as holding you accountable with objective advice.
Very strange article in the New York Times. And let's say that Brenda had a house that she has a mortgage of $750,000 against it. We'll say, you know, she really got one of those big ones there, but now it's only worth $500,000. Should she, like the New York Times article says, walk away from her mortgage? Morgan Stanley recently decided to stop making payments on 5 San Francisco office buildings that they'd purchased at the when their value has plunged. Nobody has said Morgan Stanley is immoral because no one has assumed it was moral to begin with, just because it walked away. Next quote. Former Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson declared that any homeowner who can afford his mortgage payment but chooses to walk away from an underwater property is simply a speculator and one who is not honoring his obligation. So it's okay for business to walk away, but it's not okay for an individual?
A business is an organization where individuals are held to higher standards, I think, because what happens is at an individual level, while real estate's an asset class, an investment. So if you look at it from an investment, it might be good to cut your losses and walk away. Yeah. But then the real issue for individuals is the social, the ethical, and moral part of the decision.
So businesses don't have any ethics or morals?
They do, but they're not directly necessarily accountable.
I mean, I'm a business person, and I kind of thought I had ethics and morals with regard to my business dealings. How come Morgan Stanley doesn't have to have them?
Not saying that they don't, just saying that for an individual, the social, moral, and ethical issues usually come into play much quicker and in a greater degree. As
an individual investor, I'm looking for somebody I can trust. Go to Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan's Dimon. He is tired of attacks over bonuses. He said this. He said, JP Morgan pays its employees for sustained performance over multiple years. This is Dimon saying this on Monday. Now I want to go to the Telegraph out of the UK. And the next article says there's a record bonus pot at JP Morgan. JP Morgan's payout looks set to be the highest ever offered by the bank. Based on analyst consensus, it will be up 28% from 2008 and 2007 levels. Let's go to the next quote. JP Morgan was recently the recipient of $25 billion of capital from the U.S. Treasury's TARP program. So I'm paying for bonuses?
Apparently, you may not be paying directly or you may be paying directly. But one of the reasons why certain of these companies are making so much profit right now, especially financial conglomerates, ones that have a bank at the bottom, investment banking and trading all the way up. Well, they are in really a kind of a perfect situation.
For them?
For them. Because they have the advantages of a bank, which means it's supposed to be a highly regulated industry, with where the plus is you can go get money from the Fed, number one. Number two, as we just learned, quite a few of the larger banks weren't really allowed to fail, especially these financial conglomerates, so there was a good backstop for them in terms of investment. But yet they can still get this cheap money from the Fed or from their checking depositors and that sort of thing.
And they're not required to loan it out?
No, because why would you?
Yeah, no kidding.
This is sort of the problem. When you can make, like if you loaned a mortgage to one of us at 4.75%, by the time you take out your overhead and so forth, you'll be making about 3% at the bank. Well, there's two things you could do instead. You could just go ahead and buy Treasury bills You buy a 10-year Treasury and you get 3.8. There's no fees associated
So I get
with that.
government money, so I can invest in government money, which is going to pay me more interest.
With no risk whatsoever.
Oh.
But what they're really doing, that's not how they're getting the big bonuses. What they're doing is they're using that money to fund their trading activities, where they can speculate and take some chances and go for 20%, 25% on their money, not 3%.
And that yield you get is worth the risk, because when the market was at below 7,000, the risk of downside was much less than the probability of going up. So.
All right, so give me some hope. In the 2 to 3 minutes we have left, let's talk about Roth IRA conversions in 2010, why it's so important, and estate planning for 2011.
Sure. With Roth IRA conversion, the 2010 legislation allows you to convert from a traditional IRA to a Roth without the income limit.
And what's the benefits?
The benefits are primarily the RMD requirements imposed on traditional IRAs required you to take money out starting 70.5. So what this allows you to do, if you don't need the money, allows you to have it in a vehicle growing tax deferred to pass on to beneficiaries. Now, the estate planning component tied to the wealth transfer, right now, if Congress does nothing, the law sunsets back to pre-2001 laws, which is a $1 million exemption and 55% top tax rate effective January 1st, 2011. And so what that means for most people, that with everything you own, you may have an estate tax issue. So what we do, one of the things we do, besides financial planning, is estate planning and wealth transfer planning to position your assets for wealth transfer.
So a $5 million estate without estate planning in 2011, if the law stays as it is going to be worth, well, you know, I'm going to be paying $2 million to the IRS. However, if I do estate plan, I can cut that down to zero.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this basic question, because we don't have a whole lot of time left.
Sure.
Can I afford to go to a financial planner?
Basically, the gains you get over a lifetime, and many times even within the first year, more than pay for the cost of the planning process. And we make it affordable for everybody because it's tailored to your situation and to the needs that the planning process and what's required for it.
Now, is this the same? Is this what all the financial planners do? I mean, do you guys put this in some kind of magic potion formula, and then all of a sudden, poof, I'm in good shape?
Most of the industry does use a combination of experience and software to crunch the numbers for cash flow, but where we really excel is our team focus. We have multidisciplined individuals on our team that work together, working with individuals, and that team approach is pretty unique for what we do.
Well, with that, I encourage you to learn more. Learn more about your own finances. Learning more about your health these days, learn about your financial health. Go to one of these free financial seminars, January 27th, the Roth IRA conversions, important stuff. Now, as you age, Social Security and Medicare benefits, that's February the 24th, or Tax Smart Investing, March the 31st. There's the phone number and the email address. You can learn a heck of a lot more. Go to them. They're free. Heck, they might even have some munchies as well. So, strongly encourage you to learn more about your own financial health. It's a patriotic thing to do, because if we help America become stronger economically, then we are a much stronger country against any type of enemy that we would have. We'll see you right here on Public Exposure.